Good morning, everybody. It's time for another breakfast cereal. All right, let's get going on this one. Okay. um, the Crimson Ghost. Just got this sucker from Cereal Squadron, so I was really excited. It came in just the other day, so I had to pop it in the Blu-ray player and watch it. Never saw this before. I was looking forward to it. We're gonna break it down. The way that I do these is the way I do all movie reviews, which is my space technique. S is for story, P is for pacing, A is for artistry, C is for characters, and E is for enjoyment. Each section gets a score out of 2, 0 being not great, 1 being okay, 2 being really good. At the end, you get a score out of 10. That's how it goes. All right, Crimson Ghost. It's got Charles Quigley as Duncan Richards, who's the hero of this. The Crimson Ghost is a villain. Clayton Moore, baby. Yes, I was really shocked when Clayton Moore came up there. We know who that is. Okay, he plays Ash, who's also a villain in this one. Yeah, he's a villain. And Linda Sterling. Oh, come on. She's the best, right? The Tiger Woman. And her name was Diana, that's right. And then the Crimson Ghost is a mystery. We don't know who the Crimson Ghost is. You don't find out till the very end, and I did not guess who it was. There's not a whole lot of people to choose from to guess. I made a call, and it was based on a very silly assumption. And I'm not going to tell you my silly assumption because then it's going to tell you that I was wrong, and then you're not going to guess yourself. Okay, so you really got to check out the Crimson Ghost. If this image is familiar to you and you don't watch movie serials and you're thinking, I've seen this before. Well, the punk rock band, the Misfits, are they a punk band or metal? I think they're punk. I listen to metal, but I've only heard a couple of Misfit songs. They use the Crimson Ghost as their mascot, so you can check that out online. There's several shirts and stuff like that. All right, this bad boy is a 12-chapter serial. It's about what, 13 hours, what, not 13 hours, what am I saying? They're about 13 minutes a chapter ish. What else do you need to know about this? That's directed by William Whitney, who we know and love, and Fred Brannon. So there you go. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I got my trusty notepad here. I took notes during the sucker because this is not like movies where they're like, an hour and a half or 2 hours. You gotta take notes because there's just so many chapters and so many things going on. Okay. For the storyline, I'm going to give it a 1.5. It's not going to get the 2. There was some good mystery to it. I liked the gadgets, like which I'll get into that into the art style. There's some like pretty good escapes and stuff, though. I did find that it was a little bit repetitive, in the sense that it would be like Richards meets with the group of scientists. He talks about some invention. It's the cyclotron is what they're talking about in this one, and it can basically nullify engines and electronics and that kind of a thing. So they've got this machine, and then the Crimson Ghost wants to get it, and it does get a bit repetitive where they're like, well, now you need hard water or heavy water. And it's like, okay, well, now he needs to get this component, and then there's this one. So it's all very structured. It's like there's always the scene where they're talking to the other scientists, and so he's a criminologist. Richards is standing in front of them at a table, and he's like, well, the Crimson Ghost try to do this, but here's what I'm going to do to thwart that. And then it's the action, and then it comes back to that again. So it's a little bit repetitive, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. I like the characters. Now, in the beginning, Linda Sterling, she is just taking notes and stuff, but she gets like into it a lot more later on. So yeah, and there's a cool mystery to it. I guess you could probably figure out who the Crimson Ghost was if you really thought about it, maybe. I don't think there's enough clues for you to determine. It's almost like at the very end, it's a bit random. And at the very, very, very end, it's not a spoiler to tell you that they're going to capture the Crimson Ghost, right? At the very end where they capture him, something weird happens. Like they kind of capture him, and then he's not like he's revealed there, but then they cut to like back at the university and the suspects are there and they're like, haha, it's you. And I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't we just see him get unmasked there? That was weird. It was I almost felt like maybe they weren't sure who it was going to be and they decided at the end. I don't know. It was weird, but pretty cool. 1.5 out of 2. That's pretty damn good. The pacing, I'm going to give 1.5 out of 2. And the reason it didn't get 2 out of 2, because I thought this was very fast paced, even though it was a bit repetitive and formulaic. The action, there's a lot of slobber knocking action, which is just beating the crap out of people. Is great. Great fights. Again, it's not getting the top marks because it is a little bit repetitive. And there's even one chapter, I don't remember what it was, but half of the entire chapter was recapping earlier chapters. I don't think I've seen that before in a serial. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It might be one of the tropes of serials, but I haven't seen it. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm only literally just starting out my journey through these serials. I've been collecting them for a long time, but except for some of the superhero ones like the Superman, Batman, Captain Marvel, Spy Smasher, that kind of thing, I haven't gotten into any of the non kind of DC Marvel Fawcett stuff. So that could be a trope that I didn't know about. There's a couple of really cool ones too where Duncan is like crawling on this wire. It's near the beginning, and then the Crimson Ghost cuts, and you're like, whoa, and he falls. You're like, oh shit, and it was really cool what happens. I mean, it's very obvious. Some of the outcomes of these cliffhangers, it's a little bit of cheating, right? Which is to say that, you see the car go off the cliff and then in the next chapter, you see the person jump out. So a little bit of cheating. There wasn't as much cheating in something like Spy Smasher, which gets a full 2 out of 2, right? So I'm going to knock it down to a 1.5 just for those reasons. It's got some of the serial tropes, but it is what it is. But the repeating footage really knocked it down. If someone told me it was even a 1 out of 2, I would agree with 1 out of 2, but I'm giving it 1.5 because I did enjoy quite a bit of the fights. And it's always one room fighting, but we're going to get to that into the art because this is all part of the artistic value. The artistic value is going to get a 1. The reason for that is that most of the action bits are always like one room. It's like one shot showing you a room and then they just fight in that room. We're not talking the fights themselves are pretty good, a lot of breakaway stuff, right? But it's not like Spy Smasher. Like I don't want to keep harping on Spy Smasher, but when you watch that, you're like, holy shit, this is like freaking crazy, right? Like there's so many locations, they're all unique. Guys are jumping off shit and like it's crazy. This one is very standard. Good, good punches, right? There's a lot of good punching. But it's all very standard. One shot, you've got the room, the guys go out and brawl each other. So I do appreciate having it just one shot and not going crazy. But when you see the levels of Spy Smasher and how crazy that got, it's hard to give anyone else even a 2 at that point. So I'm going to give it a 1. I did like, so part of the artistic value too is the look of things. I'm going to get to the characters in the character section, but it looked okay. There wasn't a lot of locations really. It was like the university and then all these one room locations, which I have a feeling was the same set, just redecorated, right? There's like an office, there's like a laboratory, there's a fight. Every room that Duncan walks into, there's going to be a fight. Okay. If you ever saw Duncan come to your house, I would kick him out because there's going to be a brawl in that thing and everything's going to be destroyed. He would destroy all my collectibles. I would be very upset. So there is that. Some of the gadgets are neat though. The Cyclotron looks cool. It's a box, with a little thingy, like a little squiggly thing. There's these mind control necklaces, which are kind of neat. I'd love to get one of those if I could get my hands on one of those. So it's not too bad. The dog attack, there's a cool dog attack at the end, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's still going to get a 1. It is what it is. Let's get into the characters. Here's where we're getting into the good stuff now. Characters, it's 2 out of 2, man. The Crimson Ghost is the freaking best. Firstly, he looks awesome. This is why he's used by the punk band, because he looks cool. The mask is creepy as shit. He's kind of a douchebag, to be honest. He's great. He's a great villain. I'm very happy with the Crimson Ghost. Oh man, I wonder if that's in the public domain because I would love to steal this character and write stories myself about him. I always thought it'd be great to have like a serial universe like the MCU. It's like the SCU, Serial Cinematic Universe. And you have like Tiger Woman teaming up with like freaking, Flash Gordon or whatever, fighting off the friggin' Crimson Ghost or whatever. Spy Smasher comes in to team up. Like, that'd be sick, man. I wonder, I guess Spy Smasher's not available because he's now a DC character, though they haven't really done shit with that character. They turned him into a female in one iteration, but anyway, or it was like his daughter or some crap. But they should do more with some of these characters. Okay, but yeah. So let's talk about Linda Sterling, Diane. She's pretty badass. Like in the first like half, I was thinking, oh, she's a total waste. Why they get her and they just wasted her? But actually, she gets into the action pretty good. She's jumping out of cars. She's getting knocked out, right? She's shooting guns and stuff. I'm like, all right, she's pretty badass, right? So plus, I'm a fan of hers anyways. So she got into it pretty good. I really like her too. Plus, she looks good. Okay. Duncan, Duncan, man. He's a criminologist, scientist. He's not Doc Savage, but he's basically like, Doc Savage's younger brother, maybe. He's like all over the place, man. He'll beat the crap out of you if he's got to. Like, he's not scared to shoot you down. Pretty good. He's a driver, right? He's all right. He's a pretty good character. But yeah, the Crimson Ghost himself is wicked. I love there's a point too where Duncan kind of outsmarts him. There's a lot of back and forth. It's sort of this is part of the repetitive nature of it, but it is still done well where they're going back and forth. It's like a lot of mind games. Like if you've watched any anime, like L, there you can see L in the background here. He's from Death Note. So L and Light have like a really good cat and mouse back and forth. So they do a lot of that, like they double cross. Like Duncan lays a trap for the Crimson Ghost. The Crimson Ghost realizes it's a trap and then tries to counter it, or sometimes doesn't. Stuff like that. So the back and forths are pretty good with the characters. So I really like that a lot. Linda gets smacked around a little bit too. So it's like, I mean, they're doing what they got to do to get shit done in this serial. Plus, yeah, Crimson Ghost, he's got his guy, and you can't tell who works for him because they got a collar. It's always hidden like this, right? And then you're like, oh, and everyone wears suit and ties, so it's not like now where I'm wearing a t-shirt where it's like anyone can tell that I've got this collar on me. All right, so what are we at here? We're at characters 2. Yep, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So far we're at a 6. Now we're gonna get to the enjoyment. And I'm gonna give it. This is where enjoyment is an intangible thing. It's just my personal feel of how I felt watching it. You don't take notes. It's just like once it's over, do you feel satisfied? I'm gonna say yeah. A little bit, maybe a bit more. I'm gonna give it a 1.5. So we're gonna end off with a 7.5 out of 10. We're gonna give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. I think it's a really good serial. There are better ones out there, but this is definitely worth getting. I really enjoyed it a lot. I read somewhere that they had colorized it. It'd be interesting to see it in color, especially with the red. I think he's a really amazing character. I know this is in black and white to keep it in the times of the serials, but he's red. So look him up, Google him. He's pretty neat. Yeah, overall, this was pretty damn cool. I was not really bored at all, even with some of the repetitive stuff. I thought it was really cool. So I liked the Crimson Ghost a lot. Let me know in the comments if you're a fan of the Crimson Ghost or if you're a fan of the Misfits and you're only learning about this because of them, which is great. However you get to it, you get to it. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Crimson Ghost. I really liked it a lot. 7.5 out of 10 is my final review. Let me know if you agree with that number or if I should have been higher. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.